Hello. How's everybody doing today? Brother John Stewart on behalf of Lost Sheep Ministries, here to take y'all on another little walk with the word for the day. So I got to go and get this video in. I don't know if y'all can see the clouds, but man, it looks like it's about to throw down out here. See, there you go right there. So hopefully God give me about 5-10 minutes so I can get this video in before it starts coming down on me. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have my umbrella with me. So tonight I want to share with y'all a lesson out of a book. It's a bit of a weird book to me. I read the book several times because I read my Bible all the way through, but it's kind of a weird book, and I'm gonna kind of explain what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna jump to the video, and I'm gonna explain what I'm talking about, why it's weird. But it's one of the weirder books of the Bible, but it's in there, so I read it. But thank God I was able to get a truth from it because it was a bit of a challenge. So tonight I'm gonna share with you a lesson out of the book of, it's called Song of Solomon. Some Bibles call it the Song of Songs, and some call it the Song of Solomon. So it all depends on which verse you have. But I'm gonna read to you out of the Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verses 7 and 8. So in SOS is what I like to call it. Chapter 1, verses 7 and 8. The Lord tells us this. He said, "Tell me, O thou whom my soul loveth, where thou feedest, where thou makest thy flock to rest at noon. For why should I be as one that turneth aside by the flocks of thy companions? If thou know not, O thou fairest among women, go thou forth by the footsteps of thy flock, and feed thy kids beside the shepherd's tent." All right, so like I said, that's the verse right there, those two verses. And like I said, this is it's a kind of an interesting book. And like I said, to me, it's kind of a weird book, especially when you compare it to the seriousness of the other books of the Bible, the other biblical books, or in the other books, there's always some kind of wisdom there, or those books are praising God or exalting God or something like that. You always find that in all the other books, but not in this one. Matter of fact, the reason why this book is such a weird book to me, and if y'all don't get in your Bible, you might not know this books actually don't mention God at all. There's like not one mention of God in this entire book. So that's weird to me. You got the Bible, and the whole Bible is the word of God, and it actually don't mention God in there. There's no praying to God. There's no praising God. There's no mention of God at all. You know what I'm saying? It's basically like, this book is basically like this flirty, playful banter back and forth between these two lovers. And I think one of the lovers is King Solomon because it brings up his name, but it's just like this playful banter between these two lovers, but it never really talks about God or give any kind of biblical concepts, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? And it's so weird because the guy, he keeps talking about how nice the girl's titties are, you know what I'm saying, and how he just want to lay between them because they look so nice and firm, you know what I'm saying? And then he also there's a whole lot of like sexual innuendo throughout the chapter. Like I said, it's just you read it, you're like, man, what is going on here? You know, is this smut kind of thing? But it's in there. I read it. It's an interesting book. You know what I'm saying? So needless to say, this one was a challenge for me to try to bring a truth out of it because it really don't give any truths. You know what I'm saying? And with the way that I'm doing my videos, you know what I'm saying, I knew this would happen eventually. Especially because you got some books where it's like 3 or 4 chapters in the book and all it is just giving names. And you got some books where it's chapters where it's just naming off all these different cities and countries. So I knew eventually I'd get somewhere, get into a chapter where it's going to be slim pickings. And that's what happened tonight. You know what I'm saying? Because the way I like to share with y'all, instead of just going and picking and choosing all the cool stuff in the Bible, or all the easy stuff in the Bible, my readings when I do this video, it has to come from the chapters that I read the night before. So this is what I read last night. So I have to pull, I got these 3 chapters and I got to find something within these 3 chapters. You know what I'm saying? So again, it was a little bit of a challenge, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's good to do it that way because that way y'all can get a little taste of everything. Because, you know, if I'm only just going and picking the most popular verses and the easy verses, then you're not going to get all of it. You know, you're going to get the good stuff. And I want you to get a little bit of everything. So I want y'all to get a little bit of this as well. So like I said, it was a challenge, but lucky for me, the young lady, she did make a statement that I can work with. You know what I'm saying? And that statement that she made, it contained in these verses, which I just read for you. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, did you know that 50% of marriages in the U.S. ends in divorce? You know, and that means that you got just as much of a chance of getting a divorce as you have of getting a happily ever after. You know what I'm saying? And you go a little bit deeper into the numbers of like how, okay, of the 50%, how much of it is caused by a certain thing, 75% of the divorces, of the 50% of divorces, they're caused by a lack of commitment. That's what happens. 75% of the divorces end because of lack of commitment. So why is it so hard for people to commit? And the reason is because no one's never really content with the blessings they have. You know, they always got their eyes open. They always got their eyes peeled looking for greener pastures. You know what I'm saying? Seeing if the grass is green on the other side. You know what I'm saying? And we always think the grass is green on the other side till we get to the other side and we realize the only reason why it was greener is because it was fake. You know what I'm saying? It's actually not grass at all. It was turf. You see what I'm saying? And yes, if you compare grass to turf, of course, it's going to always look better because the elements don't affect turf the way it does grass. But here's the thing that you got to understand about that turf. You can't grow nothing on turf. See, you can't grow with turf. Turf ain't gonna do nothing. You can't get anything to grow out of turf that would give you any kind of nourishment, unlike with grass. You see what I'm saying? But on the other hand, with grass, yes, if it rains too much, or if it rains too little, or if it gets too hot, you know what I'm saying? You might not be able to grow anything, but those are only the extreme situations. For the most part, as long as conditions are decent, you know what I'm saying, you'll get something to grow on grass. You know what I'm saying? But you can have absolutely perfect conditions with turf and nothing will grow there. Nothing will grow. You see what I'm saying? You can have the perfect conditions, everything's right amount of sun, right amount of rain, right amount of food, everything, and nothing's gonna grow because it's turf. It's fake. You see what I'm saying? And you can't grow in fake. And that's what we're giving up, real relationships for fake relationships. See what I'm saying? So we look at this young lady here tonight, from our verses, she understood this. She understood what she had was real. And that's why she was able to make this profound statement that she made. She said, be sure to show me where your flocks are at, because I'm not trying to, she basically, I ain't trying to be out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? I want to be with you because I know what you have was real. See, she knew she had the real thing and she wasn't giving up the real thing for fake stuff. And that's what we do all the time because we think the grass is green on the other side. We always looking for greener pastures. You see, she understood the value of what she had. And that's what most people don't understand. That's why most people cheat, because they don't truly value what they already possess. And then unfortunately for us, that's the way we operate. And usually we don't really understand the value of what we have or appreciate it until it's gone. But then once it's gone, it's too late and we can't do nothing to get it back. You know, I've had several people over the years that I've counseled or ministered to that I've given them advice about being happy with what they have and then listen. And if they had just listened, their families would have been saved and their marriages been saved. You know, I had this one guy that was real close to me, and he had this girl, they had 2 kids. And I'm sorry about the wind, y'all. I told you about the storm. But he had these girls, they had 2 kids together, and he was already a crappy boyfriend from the start. But he actually had been faithful like 5 years. And I remember he told me, like, man, I think it's this little girl I want to hit over here. And he was staying in the projects. And I'm like, man, you got your girl, you know what I'm saying? Just stay with your girl, you got your family, be good, bro. Man, I've been faithful 5 years. You know how we need to get used to get down? I need to get back out there. I'm like, bro, I'm telling you, you're already a crappy boyfriend, but you've been faithful. That's the only thing keeping y'all together. I'm like, if you cheat, she gonna find out and she gonna leave you. Of course, he didn't listen, messed with the other girl, got her pregnant, then his girl left, and that was like maybe 10 years ago. He still haven't got over the girl yet. I had another guy I was talking to, had a family, everything, told him don't do it. I said, man, he like, man, I'm gonna do this and this. I'm gonna be single. He was married. I said, man, you're gonna have fun for a week, and then next thing you know, you're gonna be miserable. And he had fun about 2 weeks, and he's miserable. You see what I'm saying? They didn't think about the consequence of their action. You see what I'm saying? But I thank God. I used to be out here looking for greener pastures, but I thank God every day that he showed me the truth before it was too late, because I would have lost the best thing that ever happened to me. So I'm gonna end this with a verse, and I'm getting tired now. I'm going to end with a quote from one of my favorite songs, one of my favorite artists. His name is J. Cole. He says, there's always going to be a whip better than the one you got. There's always going to be some clothes better or fresher than the ones you rock. There's always going to be a bee that's better out on them tours, but you're never going to be happy until you love yours. And that has been your little walk with the word for the day. I pray these are blessings y'all. They are. Like, share, tag, repost, save, comment, do all that stuff to help me out. Give me a follow so you can follow me as I follow Christ. You want to catch me full sermons? Catch me Facebook Live Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then you can check out my little social media on lostsheepministries.com. Now, I'm 100% sure about your salvation. Reach out to me and let me know. Peace.